YouTube family. Been a while since we've seen each other. Been doing some stuff, going through some stuff. Just don't want to put some stuff out there that I go through in my personal life. But enough of that. We're back, and we're in Florida right now. What should we do? I've been here getting unloaded, going on 2 hours now. Let's do a TikTok reaction. Yeah.
I've been quiet about this long enough, and I'm fit to speak up on this trucking industry. Look, we as truckers are away from our families 30, sometimes 60 days, sometimes 2 months. We miss birthdays, we miss holidays, we miss our kids' football games, basketball games, all out here working ourselves to death to make sure that America keeps moving, literally keeps moving. Without truckers, you ain't got gas at the gas station. Without truckers, you don't have medical supplies at the hospitals. Without truckers, you don't have clothes. You don't have blankets. You don't have nothing. And the bottom line is everybody from the everyday citizen all the way up to the FMCSA has their hands in our pocket.
This one's going to be controversial, to say the least. I'm kind of curious to see what the comment section is going to look like when I'm done. I'm going to get some hate, that's for sure. But let's talk about it. Yeah, I completely agree with this first statement about missing stuff. Yeah, I'm out 3 weeks, and then I'm usually home for 1 week. But that's me. Not everybody's like me. Not everybody can get away with that. You know, my family owns our home, so I don't have to worry about a mortgage payment and stuff like that. The only bills I have that are actually a little bit big are my cell phone bill, which is about $3 something, and my mom's car, which I pay, which is about $3.20. That's about it. But yeah, we miss a lot of stuff with our families, and that's kind of the name of the game. But here's the thing, though. We signed up for this. We knew the cost when we decided to go OTR. Now, if you're local or regional and you're not happy with your home time arrangements, it's a quite simple fix. You just quit and go someplace else that will meet your home time requirements. So yeah, while I don't disagree at the fact that we keep America moving, what I do disagree with is the connotation that that's what we signed up for. We became truckers for one reason and one reason only: money. We didn't do it out of some patriotic sense of duty because, oh, my country needs me, I'm gonna be a trucker. Nah, man, we did it for the money. And FMCSA and the common citizen don't have their hands in my pocket. Now, I'm not saying there's nobody's hand in my pocket, but I'm just saying we knew what the risks were when we signed up for the job. Let's keep going.
Ripping us off. I don't know what has happened over the last couple of years that truckers have become the target for all the rules and regulations that you could possibly put on one person. Number one, we got to run on a clock. For the public that don't know this, we have to drive 11 hours straight, and then we have to shut down. We can't move our vehicle for 10 hours. We have to sleep 10 hours. And what that does is that puts you in a position where you can't stop and take a break if you want to. You can't take a nap. You have to drive those 11 hours, because if you don't, you're going to lose your time.
So what happened in the past few years that, made the government and the FMCSA put all these regulations on us? I'll tell you what happened. It didn't happen in the past few years. It happened in the past couple of decades, because guys in the past running them cattle cars and running them long nose hood trucks and everything, they were running 3-4 logbooks, so they were running illegally, and they were doing shady stuff with their, setups, and they were doing shady stuff with speeding. So Every single thing, every single regulation that has been placed on the trucking industry has been in response to things that were done by drivers. Drivers running 3-4 logbooks, what's the solution? An ELD. Drivers were speeding 80 miles an hour down the interstate when the speed limit's 60. What's the solution? Governors. You know what I mean? All these things are responses to the industry itself, to the drivers. So, if everybody would have been hunky-dory doing 65, doing the speed limit, respecting the laws and only having one logbook, we would have never had to deal with any of this stuff. But since people did it, guess what? Now we all got to deal with it. I feel like this description of the hours of service rules according to the FMCSA is possibly the most divisive argument I've ever heard against the hours of service. It's almost a straw man argument where you take the most ridiculous, over-the-top explanation of whatever your side of an argument is to justify that argument. No, that's not how the hours of service works, okay? To the general public, that's not how it works. Yes, we have 11 hours of drive time per day. That's a maximum amount that we can drive legally. Some people will break that because they run out of time and they haven't found a place to park, so they will go over the 11-hour drive time. That 11 hours has to be driven inside of a 14-hour window. It's called the 14-hour clock, the 14-hour day. So, within a span of 14 hours, we have a maximum of 11 hours that we can drive. Now, you can only drive 8 hours. Maximum, again, the key word in all of this is maximum. You can only drive 8 hours maximum before having to take a federally mandated 30-minute break. So, that seems complicated. So, let's go to the handy-dandy Qualcomm. So, here we are. This is the Qualcomm. I'm off duty. I've been off duty for 2 hours, 8 minutes, right? I've driven 119 miles today. All right? Of course. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. And we're back. Okay. So, yeah, I've only driven 119 miles today. So, here we go. These are the clocks, the hours of service. So, I have to drive 8 hours before I can take a rest break. So that's full. Now, 11 hours of driving time is how much I can drive in one day. 14 hours of on-duty time is how much I can work in a day. And 70 hours of on-duty time is how much I can work in 1 week. If we go to my 8 days, you can see the drives are never all that much. I mean, in retrospect, on the 14th here, December 14th, I drove 536 miles. I drove 9 hours and 27 minutes. I was on duty for 9 hours and 50 minutes. So, the operative word in describing the hours of service is maximum. Those are maximum times. If you want to drive 15 minutes in one day, you can drive 15 minutes in one day, as long as you don't go past 8 hours before taking a 30-minute break. 11 hours of driving time inside of a 14-hour on-duty day, or as long as you don't go over your 70 hours. If you don't drive your entire freaking clock, you're not wasting your time. You're conserving your 70. You're conserving your overall time for those 7 days. And guess what? On the 8th day, let's say on the first day of my cycle, cycle's such a bad word to use in this situation. On the first day of my week, I only drove 5 hours. On the 8th day, I get those 5 hours back. Those are called recaps. So you don't lose time. Hours of service are much like the states of matter. Nothing is ever destroyed. It's only transformed. Yeah. So agree to disagree on this one there, Bubba. Also, there's 2 ways to reset these clocks, okay? One is a 10-hour reset, which he kind of said, you got to sleep for 10 hours. You don't actually have to sleep for 10 hours. It's not like the DOT is going to be like, were you in that sleeper berth for 10 hours straight? No, man. you have to be off duty for 10 hours. That doesn't mean you have to sleep for 10 hours, okay? I usually go grab a shower, grab something to eat, walk around a little bit, being a big dude. Movement is important, and then I will go back to the truck and sleep for 7-8 hours, and then I'll take off once I see it available. But yeah, it's not that big a deal.
On top of that, we got the freight brokers, who are the middlemen in between the shippers and the truckers, who are taking 80 to 85% of all of our profit, who are sitting behind a computer screen, ain't doing nothing but filing some paperwork, and we're out here running friggin' 2,000 miles for $4,000.
There's a touchy subject, freight brokers. Okay. Freight brokers are middlemen. Freight broker is a service, is a person who provides the service of getting with customers and saying, okay, what loads do you have available? What jobs do you have available that need to be taken? And they are the middlemen between customers and truck companies. Most of these truck companies being small fleets and single owner operators. If I own my truck, I would most likely be dealing with a broker. Now, yes, they do take a percentage. They're a business. They need to make money. That's what they are there for. They're not doing it out of some misguided sense of patriotic duty to keep America moving. They're in it for the money. Ironically, it's almost like it's a common thing amongst businesses to make money. That's why I'm in it, make money. Anyway, so you can't just randomly throw out 80-85%, okay? If you're gonna throw out numbers like that and be accusatory in this, I don't even know if that's a word, it just sounds good, accusatory. If you're gonna make accusations about, getting ripped off for 80-85% of your revenue, then brother, please, by all means, prove it. Throw up a rate con up there. Throw up something that proves that these brokers are ripping you off that much. And I'm sure somebody in Congress or somebody who has a position of authority will do something about it, because that would be absolutely ridiculous. I don't know about that because I drive for a mega carrier. I drive for Prime Inc. So I don't deal with brokers. Prime Inc. is my broker. I make my revenue off of what they give me. And, yes, you're not a true trucker. It works for me. Okay, that's the important part. Now, brokers are an issue. And it's not that they're so greedy. It's not that they're trying to rip us off. They're trying to make money. And in today's society, with everything going up, their rates will have to go up. Now, here's the gist of it, though. Here's the issue that I have with people claiming, brokers are ripping everybody off. I'm not saying they're not, but what I am saying is, if you have such a problem with brokers, then why use them? I don't have this ability, but if you have the ability to bypass brokers and deal directly with customers, why don't you do that? Because customers kind of suck sometimes. They don't understand the needs of the trucking industry. It's nice for somebody to go in that understands the basics of the trucking industry and say, okay, what's the commodity that needs to be hauled? What's the weight of the commodity? What kind of trailer do you need? Do you need a flatbed? Do you need an open deck? Do you need a gooseneck? Do you need... Shut up. Do you need a refrigerated truck, a reefer? Do you need a dry van? How many miles is it going? What's the pay you're prepared to offer? Somebody does all that legwork so you don't have to. That's why they make money. So, yeah, if you don't like brokers, you don't have to use them. But then you have to deal with customers, and you have to spend your time. Ultimately, what it comes down to is, what is more valuable to you? Making a couple percentage, a slightly higher percentage and dealing with the headaches of a customer, or using that time to move freight down the road. If you think your time is better spent dealing with customers and their BS, by all means, go right ahead. But if not, then just use the broker.
Gas prices are through the roof. Every time you turn around, the gas prices are going up. Right now, it costs $1,000 to fill up one of these trucks. Now, just think about this. You're running every day. If you're running 7 days a week, your gas bill is going to be pretty damn expensive. Probably $5,000 to $6,000, $4,500, $100.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Don't you mean diesel? I'm just saying. I get what you're saying, brother. Yes, fuel prices are ridiculous. But again, we can't control that. The only thing we can control when it comes to fuel is the efficiency at which we use it. So instead of driving, a big hood truck, which I don't think that's what this guy drives. I think he drives a 579, which good on you, man. It's Peterbilt's answer to the Freightliner Cascadia. I get it. Now, ultimately, if you want to run 75 miles an hour down the interstate, 70 miles an hour down the interstate, then that's on you. You're going to get worse fuel mileage. If you want to run 58, you're probably going to get better fuel mileage. Now, it has to do a lot with the truck, with the engine. You can have two identical trucks, and one will get better fuel mileage at 65, one will get better fuel mileage at 58. It's a matter of knowing your truck. But you cannot control fuel prices. We can complain about them all we want, but ultimately, there's nothing we can do about that. Again, it's something we signed up for.
And the rates out here are $2 and something a mile. Everybody is taking advantage of the truckers. And it's getting to the point now where it's fixing to explode. We just can't take it no more. We're out here sacrificing. We're away from our families. We're not home, and we're running y'all's goods. We're taking care of America. We're doing what's necessary to get you what you need. And yet the federal government, friggin' everybody from the federal government down to the everyday citizen has their hands in our pocket, taking advantage of us. It's unsafe out here on this road.
There it is. I was waiting for this because I knew it was coming. I mean, obviously, I've seen the video before. But ultimately, somebody will always bring up the rates. Rates are determined by the market. They're not determined by people. They're not determined by customers. They're determined by the market. You can have a load that last year was paying $4 a mile, but this year there's a lot more people that are willing to move it at $3 a mile, and a few people that are willing to move it at $2.50 a mile. So the customer's going to put it out there for $2 a mile. We can't control that. Again, we signed up for that. Listen, nobody's actually getting ripped off, okay? Everything we do, everything we go through out here on the road, we've signed up for. It doesn't matter if you're making $10,000 a week or $1,500 a week, okay? If you're making enough to fulfill your needs out here as a truck driver, you're doing better than most. Even now, when the rates are starting to tank a bit and the fuel prices are still really high, granted, not as high as they were a couple of months ago, I'm still doing better for myself than I ever was before coming to trucking. And that's dealing with a lease contract at Prime, where my weekly truck payment is pretty high. I'm still making money. So, is it a ripoff if you're still making money? Granted, there could always be more money. But ultimately, the name of the game in this industry is finding a situation, finding a company that has a level of BS that you're willing and able to deal with, and sticking with it. And to me, that's Prime. So if you're out there and you're running your own authority and all that stuff and you're unhappy, go drive for somebody else. That's why there's so many ways of doing it. You could be a company driver, you could be a lease operator, you could be a lease purchase operator, you could buy your own truck. However you want to do it, you can get it done. That's the beauty of the industry.
We don't have nowhere to park. That's the bottom line. And when we do find somewhere to park, we got a tow truck that's hooking up to our damn truck or putting a boot on our truck because we don't have nowhere to friggin' park as it is. And the FMCSA says they're all about
This one I agree with a lot more. Parking is a big issue. According to an FMCSA and DOT study that was conducted last year, there was one parking spot for every 12 trucks on the road. Parking is one of the biggest issues facing our industry. Now, if you don't park illegally, you will not get towed. Okay? A lot of states are very lenient by letting us park on on-ramps and off-ramps. Not all of them are. If you do that in Virginia, guess what? You're going to get towed. So, the reason people do this is because they drive their clock completely out. They will have 5 minutes left on their 11 hours worth of driving for the day. And they'll be like, oh, I should find some place to park. Well, guess what? You only have 5 minutes to do so. I typically stop. I like to stop when I have about 2 hours left on my clock for the day. Because if I don't find parking at that rest area or, truck stop, I can always move on to the next one and see if maybe there's one over there. Or move on to the next one. I have options. I don't have to stop at a ramp and be like, well, I can't move. I'm out of hours. Now, there are places that I understand where they're coming from, but it does, however, seem a little bit unfair, like Walmart parking lots. I don't think that Walmart should do some of the stuff they do whenever you park at their parking lot, because if they put signs up that say no truck parking, you shouldn't be parking there anyway. But would it be so difficult to just come and knock and say, hey, you can't park here, please move? And then if they don't move, then you can put a boot on them, and then you can call the tow truck, and then you can call the cops, whatever. But give them a chance, man. That we are truck drivers. We're out here trying to get stuff done and trying to make money and trying to go about our way in a safe and efficient manner. And sometimes we have to park at your Walmart. I park at Walmart if I need to go get something at Walmart. It'd be nice not to get booted. It'd be nice to park at Buc-ee's, but that's a whole different conversation. If you're not from Texas, you probably don't know. But anywho, this video has kind of gotten long. I left the TikTok tag at the end there, so you can go look this guy up. He brings up a lot of good points, a lot of good talking points. Ultimately, I think the biggest issue is there seems to be an expectation, especially recently, that truck drivers should just have everything handed to them, and no, that's not true. Yes, we're out here, we're getting it done, but realistically, like I said before, I'm not out here due to some, misguided sense of patriotic duty because, I'm helping the country. No, I'm doing it because I'm making money. And if my making money helps put food on your table that wouldn't have been there otherwise, then guess what? That's great. But ultimately, I just need to get paid. Yeah. Now, that being said, we do need to stick together, and we're a brotherhood out here, all that good stuff, and it doesn't always seem like it, but we are. So the beauty of that is that we can agree and disagree and still be brothers, still be a brotherhood, still have that fraternity, that camaraderie that comes with it. Just because we don't agree on something, just because we drive for different carriers, just because we drive different trucks, doesn't mean we can't get along, doesn't mean we can't just coexist, man. Like, I get it. There's only one freaking parking spot at this truck stop, and I'm parking next to your flatbed with my reefer on. Guess what? I'm not moving. I'm your brother. We're supposed to have each other's back. I'm sorry if my reefer keeping my load at temperature is inconvenient for you, but yeah, you're gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, all that. It all ties in together. Anyway, the video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut it off. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll check you guys out later.